The Gaza conflict, navigating the dynamics of U.S.-Israel relations and the limits of lobbying power. The latest war in Gaza has once again thrust the complex relationship between the United States and Israel into the spotlight. Benjamin Netanyahu, the longtime Prime Minister of Israel, has been at the center of international attention, raising questions about the extent of Israel's influence on U.S. foreign policy. This essay explores the intricacies of this relationship against the backdrop of the Gaza conflict, shedding light on the dynamics of lobbying power in the U.S. Congress and the challenges posed to the perception of Israel being above the law. The Gaza conflict and U.S.-Israel relations. The recent conflict in Gaza has intensified global scrutiny of Israel's actions, raising concerns about human rights violations and the disproportionate use of force. This situation places the United States, a staunch ally of Israel, in a delicate position as it navigates the balance between supporting its ally and addressing international calls for a more measured approach. Netanyahu's leadership during the conflict has sparked debates regarding the limits of U.S.-Israel relations and the influence of lobbying efforts. Lobbying power in the U.S. Congress. Israel has historically maintained significant lobbying power in the U.S., with lobbying groups such as AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, playing a prominent role in shaping American policy towards the Middle East. Critics argue that this lobbying power has created a situation where Israel enjoys a level of influence that may compromise the U.S. government's ability to act objectively in the region. The latest conflict in Gaza has brought these concerns to the forefront, prompting a re-evaluation of the impact of lobbying on the U.S.-Israel relationship. The allegation of U.S. taxpayers as a cash cow. Critics contend that U.S. taxpayers are treated as a cash cow to fund Israel, particularly in times of conflict. This perception has led to increased calls for a reassessment of foreign aid allocations, with an emphasis on redirecting resources to address domestic issues. The question of whether lobbying efforts contribute to prioritizing foreign interests over the needs of the American people becomes particularly pertinent in the aftermath of the Gaza conflict. Examining the limits of lobbying power. While lobbying undoubtedly plays a role in shaping foreign policy, the suggestion that Israel and Netanyahu are above the law due to lobbying power merits scrutiny. The essay underscores the importance of maintaining a delicate balance between strategic alliances and upholding international standards, emphasizing that no nation should be immune to accountability for actions that may contravene international law. Conclusion. The latest war in Gaza has rekindled debates surrounding U.S.-Israel relations, lobbying power, and the ethical considerations of foreign aid. As the United States grapples with the complexities of its alliance with Israel, the limits of lobbying power, and the need to prioritize domestic concerns, it becomes essential to foster a diplomatic environment that upholds democratic principles, ensures accountability, and navigates the challenges of the global stage with due diligence. The limits of power, Netanyahu, Israel, and the dynamics of lobbying in the U.S. Congress. The relationship between the United States and Israel has long been a subject of debate, with critics arguing that Israel, under the leadership of figures like Benjamin Netanyahu, wields significant influence over the U.S. political landscape. This essay explores the notion that Netanyahu and Israel, despite their perceived invincibility, are not above the law, particularly when it comes to their lobbying power in the U.S. Congress. Additionally, it delves into the consequences of diverting U.S. taxpayers' money for foreign aid and the potential for kickbacks in addressing domestic issues. The power of lobbying. Lobbying is an integral part of the American political system, and Israel has been particularly effective in leveraging this tool to secure support from U.S. lawmakers. Netanyahu's influence in the corridors of power has often been criticized for potentially overshadowing the interests of the American people. However, it is essential to recognize that lobbying, while influential, does not place any entity above the law. Questioning foreign aid allocation. The claim that U.S. taxpayers are treated as a cash cow to fund other countries, including Israel, raises questions about the allocation of foreign aid. While supporting allies and fostering international relationships is a diplomatic imperative, there is a growing sentiment that the needs of struggling Americans should be prioritized. The essay contends that redirecting resources to address domestic issues could be a more prudent use of taxpayers' money. The notion of kickbacks. The suggestion that U.S. congressmen and senators may receive kickbacks by investing in helping the homeless and starving families echoes concerns about corruption within the political system. While there is a need for transparency and accountability in public service, it is crucial to approach such claims with evidence-based scrutiny. Accusations of kickbacks underscore the potential ethical pitfalls that may arise when addressing domestic issues in the context of lobbying. The rule of law. Regardless of lobbying power and foreign relations, the principle that no individual or nation is above the law remains a cornerstone of democratic governance. Netanyahu and Israel, like any other entities, should be subject to legal scrutiny and accountability. The essay emphasizes the importance of maintaining a system where the rule of law prevails, ensuring that political influence does not undermine the democratic principles upon which the United States was founded. Conclusion. In assessing the relationship between Netanyahu, Israel, and their lobbying power in the U.S. Congress, it is imperative to acknowledge the nuances surrounding foreign relations, domestic priorities, and the ethical considerations of political influence. While lobbying undoubtedly plays a significant role in shaping policy decisions, the assertion that Netanyahu and Israel are above the law requires careful examination and adherence to democratic principles. As the United States navigates its role on the global stage, maintaining a balance between international commitments and addressing the needs of its citizens remains a complex yet essential task.